Naked Shamanism. Welcome to With Insights Radio. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. I will take you on a journey across the universe through shamanism, metaphysical, and holistic. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. All right, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to Iggy Garcia Live here. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. Hopefully you're able to stay with me for a little bit and be able to share with me a little bit. So I'm going to have some guests on here today. So some of my good friends are going to be joining me here on the live stream. Once I get them on here, as I navigate the Zoom app. All right. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. I'm Iggy Garcia, your Naked Shaman, your Peruvian Shaman, your Urban Shaman. Just the guy who is a human being, just working his way through life, doing the things that he does, enjoying things he does. And so I'm here today with you and going to be talking with you a little bit about a recap of 2021. Giovanna Fun will be joining us, and you know, a few other people are going to join us too. Hopefully Anne Marie will join us as well. She is going to be joining us here shortly. Hopefully they can pop in here soon. So we're going to start off like we always do. You know, we'll wait for Anne Marie Buswell. She'll be here with us, and we'll get the show started. For those of you who know, I've been doing this show for many years, and just trying to recap and trying to do the things I need to do to get to people in a place of mind, just kind of be inclusive with everybody and just help people get through life and work through life. So Anne Marie is here, so I'm going to bring her in. She can join us here. See, there she is, her great smile there, Anne Marie. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Not sure if you're muted. Let's see. Let's check your audio's coming in. I'll unmute you here. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Well, welcome to my show.
Well, thank you.
Glad you can join me. I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's been interesting. We had a little birthday party here for Liliana. She's actually end of the January baby, but since she won't be here, she's going back to California on Saturday with her family. And we thought we'd celebrate a little bit for her and just kind of.
It was fun.
Huh?
It looks like it was fun.
Oh yeah, it was fun. Piñata busting. It was a good time. So,
yeah. I miss piñatas.
Yeah. Hey, Giovanna, welcome to the show. Welcome.
Hi. Hi, guys.
It's good to see everybody.
Y'all.
All right, so I'm glad you take some time to hang out with me. We're going to do a little recap of 2021 and then kind of do a little projections on what we foresee for 2022, you know, for ourselves and for the world, and things that maybe can help people. But I'm going to light a candle like I do on my shows, giving thanks to my ancestors, the people who trailblazed the path for me to get me where I'm at, and my siblings here, and thank them.
Let me find my candle.
Where's my lighter?
All right. We're also going to light this candle and send prayers to everybody who's not well, people who are sick, people who have passed, people who have transitioned, and it's a multi-purpose candle today, giving thanks to those people who touched our lives and those people who we never got to meet, but they meant something to somebody else. And so I light this candle and have it lit throughout the show, honoring those and those who have come and those who have passed, my mother, my father, my sister, and hopefully other people. And of course, you can never have enough sage to cleanse and clear the space through the airwaves. We're,
We're all
hey,
like,
we're all kind of related in this, aren't we?
right.
I'm putting this out.
Got it.
Giving thanks. Give thanks to my microphone. Give thanks to my computer. Give thanks to all the technology that helps us broadcast the show. And if there's anything that you want to do, a little prayer or something, I mean, I open the floor for both of you. Who I don't know if anyone wants to go first, and just kind of setting attention for our show tonight.
I just pray that 2022 is easy, goes easy on us. Okay, because I feel like this year was so challenging. Divine pressure was put on all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And Anne-Marie, how about you? Anything you want to share with us?
I'm looking forward to the clarity. And that's the intention I want to set, just kind of clarity and connection and kind of see what everybody else is feeling.
All right, sounds good. Also want to send prayers out to Kate and her family for her uncle who's not well right now. Just think of them in our prayers. Also to all the people that we know and we love and we care about, sending prayers to them and remembering people that we lost. I lost my sister top of the month, remembering her memory and honoring her work that she did. She was a pretty busy person in this work as well as I was. Powerful medicine woman. But you know, she made decisions that she needed to make for herself, and I just want to honor that space for her. I hope. So I wanted to bring you both on today because I wanted to share with the rest of the world on Iggy Garcia Live to some really amazing people who I work with, or going to be working with too, and people who I care about, love, and they're very important to me. This is Giovanna and Anne-Marie. These are two of my good friends. Kate's not with us tonight. Usually she's with us, but she's holding the fort down, playing her drum in the background somewhere in her apartment, probably. Intense, and sounds like your cat knocked over your like Galaxy attack.
Oh, I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit. I'm just going to open the floor up a little bit, just kind of do a little recap of 2021, kind of the things that we saw, some of the things that we, negatively and positively, there was just a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It was just a whole mixed bag. For some people, it was a great year. I'm not necessarily can't say it was a terrible year, but it was very challenging, very challenging, very challenging, very challenging.
Yeah. Definitely has challenges.
Going into the new year, one of the things about the new year is kind of remembering the things that we're holding on to, things that we need to release and let go, and move into new energies. Some people celebrate the 31st into the new year, and some people don't. So depending on where your belief systems are, I'm not sure where you guys are on that. In my tradition, in my culture, we celebrate on the 31st. We take 12 grapes, we take 12 pennies, we eat them and throw the pennies behind our shoulder for prosperity. And whatever you want to do in that year, you do it. If you want to travel, you take your luggage, you run outside and just run around with luggage, or you set some intention. And we wear yellow.
Oh yeah.
Why
yellow?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. It's one of the chakras,
I'll just say, I mean, it is the chakra of action. So
yeah,
that it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the colors, when you think about it, colors are very, very important. Some of us wear black and red, like right now I'm wearing red and black. Well, actually, I'm cold. That's why I'm wearing this. Yeah. But colors are important because in some of the teachings that I do classes, and I have markers that I hand out to people, and people grab the markers, and they resonate to the marker that is closest related to the situation they're kind of going through or something they want to work on, and they indirectly don't even know it's happening. They just do it naturally, and it's pretty powerful medicine. Just a little tree exercise that we do, if you remember that we do that. Yeah,
that was challenging.
Yeah.
I really thought I was gonna hit it first try. I was like, I'm got to. I was the last one.
Yeah. But that's part of the work we do. You know, it's very, very unique, it's very special, very ancient, very it goes back a long way. And so sometimes people call it new age and stuff, and I'm kind of like, not really. It's not really new age. This stuff's been around since, you know, when man could,
Right.
you know, get off all fours and start walking. You know, when lightning hit the first tree and man and woman decided, yeah, we're going to harness that power, you know, and capture that flame and carry it around until we learn how to make it ourselves.
Mhm.
So humans have actually been in contact with nature for eons. They've been in connection with, you know, Mother Earth, Mapacha, Pachimama, you know. They knew when it was going to rain. They knew when it was going to snow. They knew when the seasons were going to change and stuff. So not so much anymore. You know, there are people, segments in our communities like ourselves. We're in tune with that, and sometimes we fall out of tune. But a lot of the times we're pretty focused on what that means. We celebrate the solstice and all different events and all celestial events that come across. The cool thing about these last 5 years is we've had a lot of celestial events that are played out that we won't see for 600 years.
Mhm.
There's a lot of these cool things that have been happening, asteroids and stars and all these cool things. So it's pretty, it's like makes you really think about it. Sometimes you're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then it's cloudy in Columbus, Ohio, so sometimes you don't get to see the celestial events,
Mhm. There's
but you
always
can
a
feel it. But you can
cross.
feel it. But you can feel it.
Mhm.
I would definitely say, like, what was it, 2021 or was it 2020 when we had like 6 retrogrades when we're only supposed to have
Oh,
4?
yeah,
I was like, wow,
that's
we're
a
really
lot.
doing the work this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So projecting into this new coming year, I mean, I know you have your visions and you have your ideas of what you see, and take us on a little journey and things that you maybe have seen, things that you think that may happen to us, and things that we should be looking for, and things to prepare ourselves. Because a lot of times when we talk on these shows, we talk about all these amazing things that are going to happen, but people, we don't ever, sometimes you don't tell people how to prepare for it.
Mhm.
We don't tell people how to, you know, step into it. It's easy like, oh yeah, the retrograde's coming. Everyone's like, what the fuck's a retrograde?
Mhm.
You know, but that
Right.
happens a lot. You know, people are like, and then they look it up and they Google it, and then they, you know, get more confused.
Yeah.
But then you have you know, full moon. You know, if everybody has a different opinion about full moons and new moons and all kinds of
Mhm.
stuff. So I want to give you the opportunity to give you both the floor to share kind of the things that you see, you know, for 2022, what you think what may happen. Almost kind of like stepping and looking into a looking glass, you know, just seeing
Mhm.
if something has come to you.
I would say for me, what I'm seeing is that our as a collective, it is so dire that we are like upkeeping our spiritual health and routines and our mental capacity of like what's going on around us, and making sure that we're manifesting positive things. And that's where your spiritual like health and hygiene comes into play, because I feel like this past year really, like with the veil being so thin and it being completely gone basically, everything's manifesting so quickly, like with your thoughts, with your words and everything, like, and it's, you can't joke anymore about things that you don't want to happen. Like you really need to be speaking into existence, because everything has been coming so fast. We're in the 5D now.
Mm-hmm.
I also see a lot of things on TikTok about this being people's villain year, and I think that might be the darkness still trying to hang on to people and having them like, okay, I've been a good person my whole life, I'm tired of doing this, I just want to be evil now. And I think that is the 3D still trying to hang on to us, and we need to keep pushing and pushing forward. As for like the government and the food shortages that we're like people are forecasting and all this stuff, I think it is so dire for us to manifest the complete opposite. Like I don't even entertain that. And especially with like with COVID and everything, like it is here and it is present.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want to see healing happening, we have to envision it, and we have to be taking care of our bodies and our spiritual health and our physical health and everything, because it all comes into play. The 3D wants to win. It wants to keep its claws on us. Like it's destroying right now. It's going away, but it's still lingering, and it's dark and it's heavy, and it needs something to feed it. And if we're feeding it with negative energies, negative thought patterns, and negative like actions, it's only going to stay. It's going to stay as long as it fucking wants to. So I think we need to clean out our temples and our bodies if we want to see this new earth coming.
Yeah.
And Maria, what do you think?
It's interesting that Giovanna brings that up, because been playing around with the idea that, you know, we always, you know, spring clean, and we always, you know, donate stuff and clean everything, our offices and all that, and organize our files, but we don't do it for ourselves, our soul, like aging of the soul. And it kind of goes like with what Giovanna was saying. But I also think with this new year coming and the new moon coming, that people are going to need to step into their authentic selves and find out what that is for them, and walking in their truth. Because I think, I mean, everybody, you know, including myself, will battle with these messages that I've been conditioned to believe and think about myself that actually hurt me, because they limit the possibilities. Because this is what I've been conditioned to believe, like, oh, that's not possible. Yeah, a lot of things I was told wasn't possible, I've seen from my own eyes and experience. So I think a lot of people are going to start to coming into whatever their own truth is, and having to keep that. And part of that is also keeping your focus remain on what your purpose is, and finding what that purpose is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm finding a lot of people who are, you know, we call it awakening, you know, we call it you know, a spark or whatever. I like to use the word spark, you know, the unlocking, where we're unlocking pieces and parts that have been kind of closed off in our psyche, in our body, in our spirit, and our soul. And I think a lot of people are finding themselves going through this, and they have a lot of confusion, more than it has before. And now, especially now when you've been isolated, you know, for the time we've been isolated, a lot of us really had to think, and you really had to create a new version of yourself in this new renaissance of sorts. You know, some of us painted, some of us, you know, created, some of us wrote, some of us got chubby. But it's just, it is what it is. You know, some of us drummed more, some of us drummed less. But I think what's happening right now, what I'm noticing, is a lot of people don't know how to handle it. They don't really understand how to move from that feeling and that emotion into the next, you know, phase of what it is, because they've been so locked in a lot of dogmatic belief systems. Okay, they have different religions that can't answer a lot of their questions. There's some things that just happen that you don't know where it comes from. You know, and you know, a lot of people, you know, have the religious background of Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, and all this, and they starting to see things that are a little different, and they kind of contradict. For example, here's a good thing. Remember, I don't know if you saw the article that I shared with you about NASA reaching out to several the religious orders about the aliens.
Yes.
So grab on that. Let's go grab on that. What do you think about that?
I think, oh my God, like, to the ones that know, the ones that get it. Like the conspiracy theorists, we've all been prepared for this. I think it's a big slap in the face how they're just nonchalantly putting things out into the media, into movies and everything, trying to basically lube us for what is to come. This shit was coming regardless. And I think that goes with like the 3D trying to have its claws on everything, because they've been hiding it for years. And I think it's really insane that they're now gathering the religious leaders together to prepare the masses for what is to come. Like, and then the Gateway experience coming out in 2020, like how they said meditation and portals and all these things that we've all been believing in, that they said was witchcraft and like craziness is real. It's all fucking real. So it's really funny to see them doing this now. But I hope that the masses are prepared for what is to come, because if you're not ready, like, I mean, come see us, because I don't know what else to do.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what? We have done it and went through it, so you don't have to.
Exactly.
And I'm still learning.
You know, it's funny that, you know, when I read that, my friend Kate, you know, our friend Kate, she sent me that article, and then like 30 other people sent it to me right after she sent it to me. Did you see this? I was like, man, come on. You know, I was like, I've been telling you about this stuff forever. You know, it's like, and
there are preparations for that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, now it's like, you can scratch that conspiracy theory off your list, because, you know, it's not there anymore. You know, it's like, they're obviously saying that there is life out there. How it gets here, how it manifests here, maybe we don't know those facts. Maybe they don't want to share that fact with us. I personally believe they're interdimensional beings. They know how to travel through portals and come through here versus coming in spaceships and stuff. Well, they can probably push spaceships through their portals, but what's going to happen? That I don't know, which is kind of interesting. You know, I've had conversations. Kate and I had a conversation one time about what we manifest. Like, which story do you want to manifest? We want to manifest the pandemic, or do we want to manifest aliens? I think humanity wants to manifest aliens now. It seems a little more lighter than the pandemic. You know, because I would want to be a rebel if I had to fight to save the human race. You know,
Open up the hate.
running from little crevasse and blowing up alien ships. But I mean, they may come in peace too. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I feel like okay, so because I love going down conspiracy rabbit holes, like I think that was a big part of my spiritual journey, was going down those rabbit holes. But what I've connected is that in 2012, when we were all supposed to die, veil being lifted, it was said that the aliens came back in the 60s, was it, when they were going through like the Vietnam War, but that was also the big hippie movement when people were doing psychedelics. So the aliens thought that they could come down at that time because people were opening and expanding their consciousness with the psychedelic drugs.
Right.
And that's when we see more abductions, we see more alien sightings and everything, and freak the fuck out. And the aliens are like, okay, we cannot come. Okay, we're not coming. Right. But then it was 2012 when they came back again, the veil got lifted. And I think that's when a lot of people were going through their awakenings too. And more prominent in 2020, like 2020 vision. Like I made a video about that. Like it was clear as fucking day. Like this is what's happening. This is happening. This is inevitable. And I think I want to say that the aliens that are coming are for us because our governments have fucked us up so much that it's like at this point, I guess it was said in one of their treaties or something, like the government has to tell us what's happening. Like they have to tell us what they've been doing, or the aliens are going to come down here and tell us anyway.
Disclosure.
So they're trying to like save asses right now. And
yeah. You know, it's funny you said 2020 vision. I remember when 2020 came in, I was really excited. 2020 vision, I hashtag that, you know, and I was putting it out, and it's just like, you know, and then everything went crazy, and then I lost my sight in my eye, you know, in October. I got hit by bungee cord. I was like, what kind of 2020 is this? I got 2030 now, you know, but it was just like, it made you think of it, like, what do I really need to look at? You know, what do I need to work on? You know, what aspects of myself, because even though you do this work, it's constant, you know, evolution, constant work on yourself, because if you don't, you know, you don't help anybody. You don't help yourself, especially because the ultimate goal is all healing is self-healing. If you can heal the pieces and parts of you that are, you know, wounded, then other people see that there's hope. Other people say, okay, well, that guy can heal, I can heal, or I can at least attempt to, you know.
I can control it. I can change it.
Right.
And I think we should like know that healing it's not linear and it is a spiral. And I was just talking about this with my partner, like when you loop around, because we love talking about loops, like people love to loop and stuff, and like then you have the flower of life where it's all just big loops that connect to one big like grid. But these loops are not necessarily loops, they're spirals. So you're going to spiral up and up and up, and you still may come back to that point of like trauma, something comes up for that, or a person or a situation comes back around and you're like, I thought I healed this. And that's you to see, like, did you really heal this or not? Like,
you want this?
Yeah, really. And it'll come back around again, and then you can acknowledge it. You'll just be like, okay, yep, I see you. I'm going that way. So like,
Why do you say that? Because I was just telling Iggy that I got this sense of there's going to be a final rinse at the end of this year. The first couple, like 2 or 3 months of January, it's like I envisioned when I was meditating, like this final rinse, like, oh, you really want to come into your power, or you really want to know your truth. Well, you know, we're going to provide you with opportunities to challenge that one more time. And the goal is to remain focused through it. So I think that's interesting that you just brought that up, because it's
absolutely it's like the final exam, I like to call it, like being in school, and then you got that final exam that gives you all the same questions and challenges that you went throughout your whole school period, and then it's that big test. So yeah.
And people don't talk about that dark piece as much, like the work part. Like, you know, you see the love and light and everything's great, but a lot isn't talked about. That part of, you know, that shadow work, that work where you're going to have the same cycles that come up. So this time, instead of saying, oh, I'm in this situation again, give yourself the same compassion and empathy that you give everybody else, and be like, okay, well, this time I recognize here's my cycle, or this is what's coming, you know, what can I do different this time? And then have people around you that you can bounce that off of and say, well, you know, have you thought about this or tried this, or, you know, so.
Definitely. I feel like 2022 is definitely going to be the year of, I feel like 2021 was the year of foundation, but we also got to see what foundations were cracked, weren't working, were literally just fucking dust. Like, and it's time to literally like rebuild the foundations with truth, like you were saying earlier, in your authenticity and being who your spirit actually is. And I mean, if your spirit ain't right, then I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but I feel like our whole collective as a whole are just waking up at the same time really, really quickly. So I feel like a lot of people are going to be on board. But you got to get that soul right in order to live in this new earth, because
That's the down.
I mean, you're going to get left. Like, I don't know what else to say. I don't want to be mean, but like.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, yeah.
And I feel like you said, with the shadow work too, like, it's blood, sweat, and tears on the spiritual path. It's not just all love and light. It's definitely working through those shadows. I feel like last year and the year for that was definitely, like, especially in the wintertime where it's the dark season, like, shadow work was crazy, like, very heavy, but very, very, very good work that we had to do in order to get to this space that we're at now. Like, we're seeing the old ways aren't working, the jobs we're at are not fucking working anymore. Like, and this is really that year to do what you gotta do.
Right. And realize, oh, we have a choice. Like, I don't, I can say no. Like, I remember the realization when I realized that when I said yes to everybody else, it was a no to me. And it seems so like common sense, but it was like a light bulb. I was like, wait a minute. I'm just, fuck up. I'm saying yes to other people and saying no to me. Like, what? No, this isn't going to happen. I think more, like you said, more that's going to happen, where people are like, you know what? No, this isn't okay. No, I'm not going to work 50 hours a week and kill myself for a company that the day I pass away, they have my job posted. You know, like, I think a lot more people are saying, you know, that's not okay anymore.
Yeah, especially with the staff shortages, we're seeing it. And the fact that we were allowed to stay at home and get paid to stay home was crazy. And there's a lot that happened during like the COVID time. Like, we've seen a lot of the system and how they like implemented the system, and there are outs. Like, they gave us basically like a time to ground back in, but there was also, like, I like to use this as an example, when we were allowed to sell liquor to people and let them take it home. Like, beer cases, you're allowed to get whatever and take it home. Like, that was never allowed to before. And I'm like, but it was illegal before, but now it's legal. So like, it's little shit like that. Like, we're allowed really to do whatever we want with morals, okay? Because I don't want people to just be out here free balling, you know. But like, a lot of their rules were fucking stupid anyway. So it's like, shit. Like,
we change day to day.
It just shows you
We need
that when they want something done a certain way, they can do it. They can change it. They can manipulate it. And that's the thing about right now in the times that we live in, is the people who are in power, people who have the money, people who control, you know, the food chain, the food supplies, the water supplies, the energy supplies. When they want to help you, they can help you. But when they really want to shaft you, they shaft you. You made a good point, like the liquor. You know, there was time you couldn't take a margarita out the door.
Right.
You know, it was against the law. You know, yeah. Now it's like well, whatever. You know, just because. And you know, it's in my brother owns restaurants, and you know, he says the biggest thing that he's found is the inundation of carryouts, which is like actually hurt his business to some degree, because he can't staff anybody because no one comes in to eat. And then when they do come in, that, you know, it's like it's a double-edged sword, you know. And the people aren't making money. They're not able to, you know, make tips like they usually do. And then they have this the kitchen's backed up because I have all these carryouts coming in. And so, it's just it's been an interesting ride.
Oh yeah.
He told me, he goes, if we go into another lockdown like that, he doesn't know if he could survive this one,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
family business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the metaverse?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Let's get into it.
The metaverse, huh? Here we go. My metaverse goggles.
Oh, you got them?
No, these are massage goggles. These are the ones you massage your head, You massage. These are the massagers. These are the ones you massage in your eyes, These little things that massage your head.
What?
You never seen those before?
Do that.
Yeah.
Those
There's
on the
little
market.
such- So what do I think about the metaverse? Well, I think we've been in the metaverse a long time, lot longer than we think we have. It's actually been part of our existence in different ways. It's been part of our culture, especially when they have cell phones and computers. I remember growing up, I didn't have a computer, I didn't have a cell phone, we didn't have anything. There was no. You had actually it was a dime back then it turned into a quarter in your pocket, and you carried it around in case you had to call. And there was phone booths everywhere. You could actually make a call to your home, and what in the metaverse has changed that. Technology has changed that. My biggest fear about technology is the intelligence factor and the comparison factor of how it thinks about us. Even though we create, artificial intelligence, humans create artificial intelligence, there is an aspect which I've read and I've watched videos where artificial intelligence thinks it's smarter than its creator to some degree, because we lack the capacity. The thing that artificial intelligence lacks that we have is emotions, feelings, and stuff like that. The things that we feel, that chemistry. I honestly, to some degree, we're kind of a robot. When you think about it, when you really break us down, we have minerals in our body. We have salts. We have all the things that, we have gold, silver in our body, nickel, all the things that, you put on a robot or a computer board that helps that electricity flow through our body, to sustain our soul, sustain our spirit. Now, the metaverse that you're probably speaking of is the one that's kind of like we step in, we put goggles on, and we participate. There have been things like that for many years. And the part about it that I kind of think is kind of strange is if you weren't making it out here very well, what's going to say you're going to make it in there? What's the advantage of it being in there? Because I don't participate, like maybe a lot of young people do. So it's really fascinating, interesting. And I saw some videos where people are just communicating and talking. People get paid to go in the metaverse and talk to people. 15 bucks an hour. They get paid $15 an hour, $20 an hour just to talk to people.
Yep, the Google people.
Oculus and Google and Facebook. That'd be a good job. Hey, how you doing? My name's Iggy. I'm here to chill and talk with you for 6 hours.
Well,
I don't know. The verdict's still out. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't have time to do that. I spent half my life asleep and in a fog, and now that I'm awake, the last thing I want to do is, I understand the escape, kind of like the Matrix, but no, there's better what I've seen. I'm good.
Yeah. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's great. I'm kind of indifferent, if I had to say. But it is part of our culture. It's part of our existence. It's part of something that is part of us. So there are going to be segments of our population who are going to be involved in that, and another segment it's not. How that folds out in the future is going to be very interesting. Kind of like Bitcoins, and all these different things, blockchains, and all the different things that that we are creating now. The blockchains actually dictate how all these coins move and how they are distributed, and so it just sounds like it's another way to exist, I guess. And if you watch enough sci-fi movies like Star Trek, there's one episode where the Captain Kirk and Spock show up and they come into this room and there's these brains inside these glass jars, and they're like really powerful. They can control and manipulate and make things appear and stuff. So there could be a possibility we just become brains one day. We're just like these small heads inside these glass. It's on the Simpsons. They have those heads that are just inside the jars. You ever see that?
Mm-mm.
So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, they have these heads that are just kind of inside the jars, and they talk and they control and they do. So the metaverse for me is kind of a mixed bag. I'm not sure how I feel about it right now. I like video games. I used to play video games all the time, but then I don't know, I just
Yeah.
got busy doing other things.
Yeah.
A worker and a former client of the mental health community, I foresee a lot of problems with
Okay.
this. You know what I'm saying? Like I foresee people who use it as another, like anything else, like an addiction or escapism. And I mean,
Okay.
I don't, some people, but I mean, there's that piece, and there's already tons of that because of COVID. I mean, I'm not even going to get into that. An already stressed out system,
Yeah.
addiction and mental health. And I think this, as anything, too much of anything can be a problem. And I just, you know, I don't knock it or anything. I don't have it, you know, hate it or anything. I just have those concerns because we already see what that does to children at certain development ages when they spend so much time, watching TV or certain things that they do, and how it affects their development and cognitive thought process. So
Giovanna, what do you think about the metaverse? What's your take on it?
Oh.
I can live
I
my
was like definitely was excited because as a spiritualist who a lot of our work now is online. So I think it could be good in that aspect of being able to connect with other people and see their avatars and stuff, and then also hold space in rooms and stuff. But then once I found out that like the rooms, anyone's listening and whoever owns this whole metaverse can be listening to, and a lot of our traditions and rituals are supposed to be kept secret. So it's like, that was a battle for me. But I also see the metaverse as us humans, just like you were saying, like AIs, and how we're like kind of like robots. Like once upon a time, we used to just be souls. And then we were like, okay, let's go into the metaverse of Earth. And then we became into these avatar bodies. And some of us did disconnect from source or from our higher selves and from spirit. So I see it as like the psychedelic pictures. I've explained this to you before, but like how there's just a universe inside a universe, inside the universe, inside the universe, inside the universe. So I think that could be a possibility to the point of like, we'll be the indigenous people of Earth. And then you have the metaverse, and there'll be some of us that are living way outside of that society where we're still doing the ancient ways, or what would be present day ways right now, but like ancient ways to them. Like once this progresses, like how there's aboriginals still in the forest, still like living their ways with nature and earth and everything. I think we'll be those people, and while everyone else is on the metaverse. However, I will capitalize on the metaverse with like we'll capitalize on their asses, but land is been there, like you were saying earlier, like because a lot of people are saying on TikTok, like, if you're poor out here, you'll be rich in the metaverse. And that is such a fake gig, I swear to God, because the land in the metaverse is expensive as shit. Like, you got to transfer your own money into whatever their currency is. It's not,
I didn't know that.
It's not cheap. Like,
what am I doing wrong? You have another life, but in the meta universe, I can't even afford this. What a reality. Wrong, man.
Well, that's kind of strange, you know. I mean, I know people tell me to buy land in the metaverse. One of my friends just texted on there on the live stream, buy some land on the metaverse. But the question is, that means somebody could buy my house in the metaverse and own my house technically on the metaverse, but not in the reality world, but in the metaverse world. Like if I wanted to go buy my house, I can't go buy my house because somebody else bought it.
Right.
And you know, if it's money, I'm sure there's different ways to collect money, right? In the metaverse.
I mean, I feel like it's like, I'd have to double check, but I think it's like crypto, Bitcoin, or like kind of like trades and stuff. But then like if you have like one Bitcoin, that equals like a lot of money in just that one little Bitcoin. But you have to already, I feel like, already be invested inside of like currency, the cryptocurrency and everything. And then it's the crypto mining for me. I don't understand that part. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me that y'all are mining crypto where in the fake and and people get mad when I call it fake, but like this made it, y'all are mining this made it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. I mean, to wrap your mind around and go, it's like you have to step outside of who you are and what you are and step into this other reality, what it is. And, you know, it's like, how do you do that? It's, you know, I watch these videos where people are talking about it, and it's just, I find it fascinating that there's so many layers to it.
Mhm.
I mean, there's countless layers, but here's the thing that freaks me out. There's really no authenticity in the metaverse because somebody created the program to it. Somebody created the foundation for it and created the barriers, the walls, the healthy limits and boundaries, all the things. Like, I'm sure there's a back door somewhere that you can like circumvent things like the movies. But that's the part that freaks me out, that you don't really know who really controls it. Yeah, Mike what is it, Zuckerberg owns it, and some other people own it. They really control the landscape of what happens there. That's at least that's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, it is, and the fact that you could have some weirdo creepo pedo flying around in the universe or the metaverse and kids.
Right. Yeah.
Except for they always say some 400-pound man dressed as a dancing girl.
It's like fat love too, but like I don't know.
I mean, you can be anybody you want in the metaverse, right? I'm
You
going to be
can't
rich in the metaverse.
wear skins, be a baddie in the universe when you just not a baddie out here.
Well, I would be a superhero in the metaverse. I would want to be like Bruce Wayne, Batman, and I mean, I can, right? If I wanted to, if I pulled up the resources. And
You definitely could. It's like Player One. We love Player One. Like that dude was not the same dude as he was in person, and neither was his teammates. Like they were
right.
all random people, but in that game they were hot shit.
Yeah. In my avatar in the universe would probably look just like me. Everybody's like, well, that's really original.
I mean, walk around being a big panda. I don't know.
Yeah. Hello, what's up, man?
Hey, come hang out with this. I think
Those are things that are coming.
Cons. Oh, it's coming. It's here.
It's here. It's coming, and it's going to affect a lot of people, young people, and older people. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you get pulled into it, what happens to the world out here? How do we navigate here? There's a big push for people to, there's a big push. They're always saying that we're going to lose our jobs to robots. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so what kind of job am I going to have in the real world, the reality world? What am I going to do? What's the average person going to do if a robot's replacing me? It makes you wonder. You're working from home. Not everybody can work from home. It's a very complex system that's being, presented to us in a lot of different ways, and it kind of concerns me sometimes because that could really affect your mental health too when you're not sure, and there's a lot of uncertainty how you're going to navigate this new world. Am I supposed to go into the metaverse? Am I supposed to stay in this world? I talk to people who just say, I'm going to stay in this world and I'm not going to mess with that. Because there could be crossover. Crossover can happen because that's just how it goes. Crossover happens all the time with technology.
And then it's like, because we are moving into this realm and this currency, you kind of don't want to miss out though, just in case like this is the new like it's like having old money versus new money. Like if our US dollar is not potent anymore in this lifetime and cryptocurrency is, you kind of do want to go on that wave just in case. Like, and that's where we're going, is cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, all of that. That's what a lot of the Trump supporters were scared of, and what he was warning people about was this cryptocurrency, and it's happening.
So, the Dogecoin. But it's like anything. You take a chance, you take a risk. Because if I buy Dogecoin might not ever do anything.
And it's not. It's down.
It's down. But I can't afford. Well, I can't really afford Bitcoin because it's like ridiculously expensive. If I buy a coin, it's like 0.0006 point. It's like
millions.
Yeah, I'm just like,
missed out on that wave. But that's what happens too. It just comes in waves, like the different stuff. I think it's good to get educated on it just in case, especially.
I think so. But
I do think there should be like regulations on how long you can be in the metaverse too, just to save that. But of course, they're not going to do that because they don't give a shit. Like they want us to be zombie brained inside of that universe. Like,
Great distraction.
mhm.
What did you say, Anne Marie?
I said it's a great distraction. That's how I see it all. I mean, I see it as
Mhm.
another distraction for people to not focus on the collective and not focus on each
Yeah.
other and connection again. I think it's another thing to disconnect us.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's funny how
I'm
they
just old. I'm just like, no, we're going the opposite way. We're going the opposite way. I know we need that technology, but it has a history of, it's even all the documentaries of, with Facebook and all that, like it had a good purpose, and it hasn't been, I'm not saying it's all bad, because, we
Mhm.
use it really good, but I think it's another form to disconnect us from each other, from ourselves, and a distraction. And that's the opposite way that I'm trying to go.
So do you think
So-
it's kind of like when the colonizers came here and gave alcohol to the Native Americans?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
hey, drink this fire water,
Good time.
Because it's hot right now.
good time. And then you know what? Your mind goes out, your mind goes away. If it's something that you haven't ingested, never partaked, it can become very addictive very quickly. And if you're living in a land and you're trying to fit in and trying to survive, that can easily,
Yeah.
be used as a tool to manipulate you.
Yeah. That's how I
It's
feel.
crazy out there.
That's how I feel. I see.
It is. And it's so funny how like our government is like dying out right now and everything. The old way of living is dying out. And now they're like, oh, okay, here's this new universe. Come join
Yeah.
us. Like,
Right. This is better.
right. That's it. It's because they ruined what is here and they're now like create this special world that we can dive into and have a better life in. And it's like, no. And I think that's why it's so prominent for us as spiritual workers and light workers and way showers to be grounded here and to keep some type of balance, because this can go off the rails real quick, real fast.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a lot of people who will be reaching out, for answers, and they may not be able to get them from modern medicine because modern medicine hasn't been able to keep up, with what's happening. Psychologists, doctors, counselors may not be able to keep up because it's so new and no one really knows kind of how it's playing out. They have an idea, but it's a culture, it's a cultural thing. It becomes a cultural thing. It becomes very infused in your belief systems. Ask anybody who plays video games. You tell them it's addictive. The first thing they tell you, it's not. No, it's not. And then they act like, and they just want to fight you about it. And it's like, and
Which
you're
is
like,
itself though. This is like
yeah,
we've seen this, or we see this. It's they didn't think, I remember when you were talking about phone booths and stuff. I remember when pagers came out, and I was one of the first people who had one, and I thought it was hot shit, but I still had to go to the payphone. And call someone, if we tend to call them, collect, say, hey, come pick me up. You wouldn't have to use a quarter if you did that way. But, when the video games came out, like I remember we had an Atari, and I was only allowed to play like maybe an hour on Saturday, but I didn't even want to do that because I was outside all the time, all the time. And I know everyone says that, but then the games became a problem. And then the internet, I mean, it's just the cycle is showing already what's gonna, happen. I know people staying inside because of COVID. I mean, who doesn't want to escape reality right now? Trust me.
Right.
I mean,
that's a good
but
point.
I've been there. And even though this has probably been one of the more rougher years of my life, I'm still happier this year than I have been last year during COVID when I was in full PPEs, working with patients. Like, I'm still happier this year because it's a better reality for me. And I think I see a lot of people who want to escape that. I get it. That escape is great, but with every choice we make, there's a counteraction. There's always something that brings to light, I guess you should say. So I don't know. I'm worried about the cycle because we see what this is going to happen. I mean, but what do I?
But you made some good predictions. You sent me some good predictions, earlier today on, Messenger, things that you were sharing.
I had a lot.
Do you remember some of the things that you were sharing with me?
Yeah, cause I had to write them down.
Okay.
They were fast. Well, I could say, like, for me, like there's a lot of people too collectively that have been feeling very stagnant on one end, like they should be doing more, but yet have that feeling that something big's coming. You don't know what it is. And I'm getting the feeling that it's our own limiting beliefs. Like we don't even believe what could be on the other side. And that's why it hasn't been happening for a lot of us. And what was the other one? There was another big one though. Oh yeah, I had that message of seeing things clear. Like this new year, people are going to start seeing situations, jobs. I think Giovanna kind of touched on it earlier, that are no longer serving them, like or questioning, like, wait a minute, and they're going to come into their authentic self. But along with that, here's a cautionary thing when you want to make that choice, that people are going to be challenged every day to make that choice, to choose them and their authentic self. And that is, I've noticed even within my own life, that's where I've always gotten caught up in the past. And I don't tell that story anymore. But that piece right there, that switch that goes off on people, and they don't realize that they have to choose their purpose every day, or what they know to be true every day. So, because when we start showing up differently in people's lives, we forget that it served a purpose for them and us, good, bad, or indifferent, no judgment. But when we start showing up differently, like, you know what, this isn't okay anymore, they're not getting their needs met, whatever it is, to feel needed, to feel, even to keep us where we were, because sometimes our suffering makes other people feel better, if that makes sense. They may not realize it, but us being down and always struggling, always needing help. This is me personally, I'm sensing that with a lot of other people. And those are the people that you're going to have to remove in your life. That's the message. You can't make room for what's meant for you in your life, or in my life, when it's filled with things that aren't.
Okay.
Absolutely. Whether
Makes
that's
sense.
first goldfish, dogs, you gotta go.
I told my cat today, it's like
That's kind of interesting that you say that. It's there. I see a lot of people. Actually, I saw it when Trump won the election the first time, when he won the first election, where a lot of people started separating themselves from other people because they had different ideas and stuff. And then from there was born a whole bunch of ideas, or a whole bunch of feelings and emotions, and a whole bunch of things that we had to like look at ourselves and say, hey, what's happening here? What's happening in the world? What's going on in America? Let's just say America. What's going on in America? All of a sudden, everything was absolutes. And that's was kind of the hard part. Everything became absolute. And that's very difficult when things become absolute, because not everybody's absolute. People sometimes don't want to be absolute, but they get categorized absolute. Like if you like Trump, a lot of people say you're racist. And that was it. There was no, nah, but you were racist. That's it. End of story. Don't tell me anymore. Don't talk to me. Don't say anything to me, because and families broke up for that.
Yeah, family, friends, everything.
There was no compassion, understanding that, but we all know that racism doesn't serve anybody. We get that. That's an understanding. But I think sometimes when we look at things, we have to really look at exactly what's going on. What's going on in our world that we help create, because we all help create it. In microcosms and in macrocosms, we help create it. We have input where we do, just in our homes, with our kids, our families, our cousins, our nephews, and the people that we love. And then that spreads out. It becomes bigger. There's the big ripple, And so we're going through all these phases. And then you got Biden, and he wins, and people, voted through, paper ballots, and, it was the first time people voted. It was a big election win, right? And then there's other people said the election got stolen. So it really makes you think, what's going on in the world? What the realities are different. These last 6, 7, 8 years that we're gonna approach is gonna really expose and show what we're about, who we are as humans on this side of the world. I'm not talking about Spain or Peru or anything. I'm talking about here in our homeland where we live. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be open and shown, and we're going to see it. and we're going to have to address it. And then we can't be silent, but we have to also understand, what's it mean to listen to somebody else's argument? What does that mean? Can you do it? Are you able to? Or are you so staunch in your belief that you won't be able to listen because you're so staunch in your belief? And as healers, we have to be able to work with everybody. You know, sometimes the guy or the woman who's perceived as a racist person may have been abused, may have been raised in a family, and she wants to get better. He wants to get better. As healers, what is our job, and how do we approach that, and how do we help, you know, the collective consciousness and help humanity without becoming political ourselves? Because we can become political because we are humans. We have feelings and emotions, how we see, and people look at us as leaders in the community, and they're like, so what's your opinion? You know, what do you think?
Right.
And so as healers, I'm going to ask you guys how you approach that. Are you one-sided on your approach, or are you focused where you try to be open to the facts? So whoever wants to jump on that. Okay, Emery, you're up.
So, and I was one of those people. I don't automatically think of Trump's pros racist, but my perception at the time, and I still feel part of this, is that by me supporting certain people, regardless if it was Trump or Biden, but in this case, it was, you know, if I was supporting him, it was a slap in the face to the LGBTQ community, the people in my life, or the people of color in my life, or the people who were in just my life, just because of my perception of what I saw. How I see things now as a student of shamanism is, part of that is taking what I look like as a hovering approach, not above or better than anybody, but looking at all aspects with the intention of understanding everybody, so that we can collectively then, you know, be a greater as, I don't know, a people or whatever. But I think we've been so focused on what we don't have in common and what to separate us versus, you know what, you get what you focus on. So we've been focusing on what's wrong with each other. Like, I can't see people say the right or the left, because you know what, I don't give a shit about either one of them. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't know this about me, but I felt this a long time. I don't like the government. They're not for us. I'm sorry. They don't give a shit about us. They do not care. So, being said, we're being bamboozled to be disconnected. So that's my take. I'm sorry, I get on my little high horse about that. But I mean, I think more at each other. I think we need to understand each other more, instead of seeing, oh, you do this, you do that, instead of saying, oh, when I say that hurts your feelings, tell me, educate me, and share with me why is a woman of color or from an Indian background, why me doing this offends you or hurts you. Oh, regardless of how I feel or not, knowing that I'm going to hurt somebody else, to stop doing it without judgment. You know what I'm saying? And we're taught that right now. It's all against each other. So I get really shitty about stuff like that. We're always trying to disconnect, and I just think that's the problem. What do you think, Giovanna?
I think I've really seen the division that's happening, especially like in my friend group, my mom's friend group and everything. And she was very passionate about Trump not winning, and her friends were very passionate about him winning, and she stopped talking to them. And I'm like, Mom, this is literally what they want. They want us to divide and hate each other, and this is not what we're supposed to be doing. Like, and she was very offended because her children are Black. Like, she's very passionate about kids, so it felt like a slap in her face when they were trying to vote for Trump and were so about Trump. It even came down to the point where my grandma was investing doing shit for Trump just because she wanted to save the children. He really pulled her in with the save the children shit. And that shit, don't get me wrong, I almost became a QAnonymous Trumper humper. Like, they really got me with that one. But I had to get out of that and figure out, like, he was using specific things that would trigger the collective to make them want to vote for him. But they're all they're not for the people. They're just for their own egotistical purposes. And even when that election was going down, like, it showed a lot of the shadow of our collective and our narcissism, like, that we even had this man in fucking office. I like to see Trump as the Trump card. Like the 3D pulled its last and final Trump card to see if they could really move the collective to where they need us to go. And it didn't work. Like it did not work. But I feel like we can't get caught up inside of the right or left side because all they want is division. And racism, I heard, is not even a thing in other countries. Like it's only here in the US where racism is very prominent. Like in other countries, they don't really see race at all. Like it's not about that. So
Well, as a Latin man from Peru, Latino, it's very common for people to use it. It would be derogatory here. Some of the things we use, but they would say certain things to certain cultural mixing in my country. Hey Chino, he's a Chinese guy, but he's not really Chinese. He's Japanese. Hey Chino, Chino, but it's not a bad thing. It's just part of our culture. Now there's a change. There's a movement that people are trying to change that. But they say, hey Negro, what's up, man? They say that too. They use all these different words. But in Peruvian culture, it's just been like that for a long time. Is it changing? I don't know because I'm not there enough to see the change. But I do see from time to time pockets of people trying to change that rhetoric a little bit. Let's approach people differently. But there's so many offshoot cultures. There's so many indigenous people in Peru. They come down from the mountains into the city. And Peru has most of their population in the city in Lima. You got like almost 30 million people, and 25 million of them are in Lima, scattered in there. So, and then everybody comes with their beliefs. Now, in my country, I'm considered mestizo. I'm mixed. I'm a mixed person because I'm European and Andean. So I'm a mixed person. Unless now the Indians who live in my country, sometimes they get it pretty shitty, because people treat them bad, even either other Indians and Spaniards and different cultural mixes. But it's true. Now what I'm trying to figure out is how do we move into this new arena and see people as humans versus color, or I mean color is obvious. We see each other. I'm pink. Look at me, I'm pink in my screen. We're all different. But yet that's not the first thing I was taught to see, when I was growing up. But yet a lot of people see that. And I saw a lot of stuff when I was growing up, back in the 70s. Saw some crazy shit. I got treated really bad, just being Hispanic, kids just want to beat me up just because I didn't speak English very well. And, for me, I'm a Mexican, period, for a lot of people. It's true. I'm not Mexican, I'm Peruvian, I'm South American, but it doesn't matter. I get dumped into the pool. And that's a whole different culture. That's a whole different person's upbringing. It's like saying, everybody's American. The Canadians and Americans are the same thing. They're not. They're different. They just kind of look alike a little bit. But the connection, only connection is that we have is that we speak a common language. And the common language has to be Spanish or Portuguese, depending. The Hispanics or the Latinos, which is a whole history class in itself.
For real.
Yeah. Brazilians, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of programming too, like in trying to unprogram. I will say, like, I dated my first person of color like an adult, and as a kid I only was attracted to Caucasians. Like is really like a dominant thing for me. Like I always like connected me not dating people of color to my dad. Like I never wanted to do that, but then it dug deeper because the person I was dating at the time showed me the show Hidden Colors and like how programmed we are from a young age to believe that the white race is superior to us. And that broke down a lot of conditioning inside of myself. I felt the racism literally boiling up inside of me after learning all of those things and wanting to get rid of that because of deprogramming. So we have to have compassion for even the most racist people because it is their programming. They're hooked onto computers that are still running, that are still outdated as fuck, but they're still running.
Yeah.
So I unsee their program and hit their soul. Like we are all souls. Like at this point, we are all a collective soul. If we are all God and children of God, like it's not about color, but we have made it about color for the system. The old system made it that way. Like and to unprogram people. Some people just aren't going to be unprogrammed. We just got to let them die off.
Nope. No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, some
you
people's
can't.
programming will never change, and that's something that we have to come to terms with and kind of understand that. And as much as we want to change people, fix people, or want them to see your side of the story, it ain't gonna happen. And so we have to move forward and find those people who are willing to move forward with us and be able to, you know, say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna move forward with you. I want to be a part of this. I want to be involved in this. You know, it may not be full time, half time, whatever, you know. But you know, you're right. You make a very good point, Joanna, that you know, there are people who just will never come out of that programming.
Yeah.
It serves them because it's their identity, it's safe, it's protective, you know, it's very protective. You know, you can be very, you feel like you're more powerful. You can, you know.
Right. And we don't do anything we don't get anything out of. So I mean, they get something out of it. That's with everything. I mean,
the complex of all that. They're higher than us. So it's like, do you believe though that or not anymore per se, because I now believe like all of us are like connected and we're all like full juicy souls. But before, like it was probably like last year, I believed that a lot of like the white people, because I have a lot of white friends too, and they are allies to the Black community or the people of color community. So I believed at one point in time that maybe that was like Black people being reincarnated into the white bodies just so they could push this movement of for like we need more white people waking up to knowing that we are all connected, we are all one, and we are all living in these bodies. So
That's what they used to say about the Appalachians, right? That they're just all really Native Americans who reincarnated into white people. That's something one of my friends told me a long time ago. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And belief systems are everything, because belief systems are those things that, you know, are also part of our core. You know, our core. It's like inside of us. It's like, how do you remove that? How do you change that? So you can't. You really have to do a lot of work. You really have to be open to the process of changing that.
And unlearning and unprogramming your plugging.
And you know, it's not easy. It's not easy. Because I've seen Latinos very racist against white people, very racist against Black people. I've seen it. I mean, I witnessed it, you know, and it's just like, wow, dude. I'm like, really? It's like, but it's there. It's there because in our culture, it's they normalized it. It's very normalized. And so I think sometimes I don't know how it is in Black culture, if that is that way, how they see whites or Hispanics. But I know in my culture, sometimes we see other, and that's not that we see ourselves as superior, because I don't really get that feel. I just feel like it's a way to protect ourselves and put people in their place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I'm saying? It's easier to just call somebody something and put them over there in that category.
Yeah, and going with the wave of
Not so much, you know, anything else that I've noticed, but it's just interesting.
Yeah, I think too, like even in the Black community, we're seeing now like us wanting compassion for the white people, but also having so much anger and like we want reparations, but we also have to from what happened to our ancestors, that because our ancestors are moving through us, they're wanting justice too. And it's hard. I think it's a hard battle right now, just trying to have that compassion and then becoming a whole extremist of like, no, I definitely hate white people. Like any white person, any Karen is definitely like bad on my list. Like there's no compassion for them either. Maybe like in the upcoming years, we're going to come into a space of more compassion for everyone, not have that big divide, because now we're seeing, okay, racism exists and these white people have done all of this shit to us. And then still trying to find compassion for them and what their ancestors have done to us, and being mixed and being white and Black, my fucking fight. Like I could feel the happening. And now because of me being the generational breaker, like, and the curse breaker, like they're coming together more.
I see. Interesting.
I've relatives, like hardcore racist fucking relatives. When we did the shaman work one time with you, Iggy, one of my ancestors popped up that was racist as hell. And I was like, I'm surprised you're here. But then again, I'm not. Like, but yeah, even in the astral realm, like the spiritual realm, they were fighting. So I think we're coming to a place of finding more peace and empathy and compassion for the human race.
Emery, anything you want to add to that? This little topic that we jumped on?
I remember a couple months ago, I was like sitting on the couch and I was watching that fantastic fungi show on Netflix, which I think I've watched 4 or 5 times now. I get amazed every time.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I always believed that we were connected, but I still can't explain it to this day. Something really clicked and I truly felt connected to everybody and everything. And at that moment, I realized that I have to love the racist. I have to love the homophobic, because if I hate them, I'm hating myself.
Mm-hmm.
We're all literally connected. And I know it seems so simplistic, but it's true. And I also know that when I'm having a problem with someone, or if someone says something, I really get pissed off. Now I stop and say, okay, what is it that they're mirroring back to you about yourself? That right there is the hard part, because I with intention purposely have to bring everything back to me, because if they're lifting something from me, that's something that I need to work on for myself, because we can't control anything outside of us. So but the one thing I wanted to mention that I forgot earlier, Iggy and Giovanna, was that I had a lot of downloads about harvest, about this new year. For the spiritual community, but especially people who've been doing a lot of like shadow work, like the last, I'm going to say 3 to 4 or 5 years, people have had a really hard time, a lot of change. The harvest is coming. It's really around the corner for a lot of people, and that the messages are going to come in through animals for a lot of people. Flowers for a lot of people, but people who are connected with animals or who have animals, those messages are going to be coming through them. So I just don't want to forget that part.
Okay. Very good. What were you saying, Giovanna?
I was just saying, like, I second thought. I definitely do. I see it even in my cat. Like my sister's cat, she's more connected to me than she is my little sister, and that's her owner.
Yeah.
That girl is with me during all my work, my shadow work, my rituals, when I sleep, when I'm sad. Like you, like she just waits. She's loyal. She's here for the cause. So,
her name.
Don't see racism.
No, they don't. They either like you or don't like you.
Right. It's the vibe.
It's the vibe. They energetically, they did tests on animals. Animals don't necessarily look at you and see your like expressions, but they feel your energy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you're like ready to hit them or kick them, like, I hate, that's a poor example, but they can feel that, they can feel that energy. But they can also feel like if you love them, and they like they lean up on against you and they want to hug you. They put their butt on you sideways. That's a hug. I didn't know that. I just learned that recently. That's when they park up next to you like that, is they're hugging you.
That's so cute.
It's really cool. They're very unconditional lovers,
Yeah.
But they don't like to be messed with either.
Yeah.
They don't like to be messed with either.
Yeah, that cat is following you, protecting you, Giovanna.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Willow Dean. She's Willow. We named her after Will Smith's daughter, Willow.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think this upcoming year is going to be all about the vibes and like vibing in and vibing out with people, situations, a lot of things. And I think our frequency is definitely very important this year, keeping the vibes high and not just letting it be like, oh, your energy is off. Like if someone's energy is off, it just means you're vibing out. Like it has nothing to do with them. It's everything to do with you. Like you're just not on that frequency anymore. They're on a different frequency. They may be 10 frequencies below you, but that doesn't mean you're higher than them. It just means you're not on the same page. And I'm seeing that a lot in my friend groups too. Like people just vibing in, vibing out, and like taking it personal that someone's not acting the same way they used to. And I just had to tell them, like, bro, vibe in and vibe out. Like if you're not vibing right now, you guys will vibe again sometime soon. Just don't hold it against them and just
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Like water.
Yeah. Very true. There's an old saying in Ho'oponopono is, if there's a problem and you're there, you're part of the problem. If you're there, you're also part of the solution. So
right.
So if you're really to do the work and you're willing to put the effort into it, you can make things happen. There are belief systems that believe that all of us are the same person in some
Mhm.
realm, that we're just all one person having a creation experience through life, creators experiencing just every aspect that he could possibly or she can possibly have.
Mhm.
And if that's hard for people to wrap their mind around sometimes. I can't be the racist. I can't be the gay person. I can't be, Iggy. He wears panda heads, you know? It's just like, but there is a thing that Native Americans say, it's all my relations. All my relations means that we're connected to everything because we come from source. Source is the creation. Source energy is everything that created everything. And the universe is expanding. And that's something that science still can't understand why and how the universe is still expanding. Because this means it's not done doing its thing. We can never reach the edge of space
Mhm.
because as we travel to it, it's still expanding.
Mhm. Absolutely. Funny you mentioned Ho'oponopono because as we were just talking about the racist, that just is what came up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is the prayer, like taking responsibility
Yeah.
for what you are seeing, even if you're not that racist, you can still embody it and heal it through Ho'oponopono. So
Yeah, I'm
I think,
sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. God bless.
yeah, that's healed a
Yeah.
lot of for me using that prayer, and
It's very powerful.
so powerful. Oh my
Just,
god.
taking accountability is the thing. That's where people get stuck in the
Mhm.
work that we do and the things we try to share and teach. People get stuck because a lot of people don't think they're the problem.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. I was abused.
Mhm.
They were abuser. No one's saying that you're not being abused, but there's the thing is we're in the situation. How do we get out of it? How do we move forward out of it? Can we move out of it? Who's going to believe our story if we tell it?
Mhm.
As a person who was abused, I told my story. No one believed me.
Mhm.
Oh, no, it's impossible. It just can't happen. But until you keep telling your story until someone hears you.
Mhm.
Now the question is how long you stay in the story that repeats. Do you stay there and do you live in it? And does that become your identity? For some people, it does.
It
For some
does.
people,
Yeah.
They become
yes,
the,
yes or no.
yes, I
Who
believe.
wants to stay? Who wants to jump on that?
Go ahead, Giovanna.
I mean, I definitely will. I feel like I see it in my friends and acquaintances. Like, people, who are they going to be without that story is what scares them the most. Like, they've been living through this trauma for so long and acting out of it for so long that it's became their own identity and a personality trait. And I even see it in myself. There have been some things that I've taken with me for survival modes, survival mechanisms that I got comfy with, like drinking and being hypersexual, everything, because of the trauma that I went through. And then I took on other identities and other deity identities like Lilith. And I became so like mad at men that I wanted to be able to seduce men and have power over them and become this thing that I learned that I am not. She was just there to protect me at the time being, but it's okay to lay that part of myself to rest and lay her to rest and know that she is safe to be here and that I'm safe to be my authentic self again. And I think a lot of people do like to hang on to that shit just so they have something to have an excuse to be who the fuck they are at that time, and it's not working out. Like, it can only get you so far.
Yeah.
I think stories also do heal though, like through storytelling. And I think for me, that was the piece I wasn't getting for a long time because I've had the story of trauma through childhood, even through the home invasion, through my addiction. I mean, I have all kinds of stories I've been telling myself and that have been about me, who I am. And I believe, I mean, there's still a lot of that programming. I believe stories about myself. Oh, Anne-Marie's this or Anne's that, or, oh, that's just what she does. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, the fuck I'm not. No, the fuck I'm not. Like, but I didn't even realize that I had the choice to rewrite that story. I don't know if it was you, Iggy, or somebody sent me a link about how things change through time. And we all know how stories change, but not saying that trauma didn't exist for me. It just, I may have remembered it differently. And every time I added a little bit onto it, not unknowingly, because that's more power in that I can connect more, not trying to do it or not lying. And not saying they didn't exist either. But how much of that is to the core real and true? And how much have I added onto it to serve me in different times in my life. I'm just going to go get high right now because I was molested. I'm
Sure.
going to go make bad choices and stay in this bad relationship because I feel no worth, you know, like, and when I found out we could change that story,
Mhm.
becoming that story, and I limited myself with those beliefs. So I think that's a big, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, Giovanna.
Yeah.
Well, trauma imprints. That's the thing about trauma. It imprints.
Yeah.
You know, it leaves an impression, and so that's why it's so raw, because it's like there. It's not like if I asked you what we talked about in the beginning of the show, can you remember?
You it's all coming in the new year. And you know, collectively, what we thought about this last year that was happening.
But do you remember the exact things I said in the beginning? No, you can't, right? Because it's not trauma. It's not an impression of trauma. It's not an impression that will affect you that way, because it doesn't hurt you in that way. But you can always go back and remember. But you were right. You can rewrite stories, because we're constantly rewriting the stories when we're going through that traumatic event. Every time we retell the story, there's always a piece of part that we add to it that we didn't have before. A lot of people add that. A lot of people go, "Oh yeah, I forgot this part." You know, it's like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. You know, I can't say that that's not true for that person, because it may be true. Maybe they remember something finally. But for a lot of people, it's really difficult, because they don't know how to rewrite the story, how to change the story, because no one's ever taught them how to change the story. And you know, and medicine sometimes gets to that point much later down the road. First, they kind of want to figure you out, who you are, and how we're gonna approach you, and how we're gonna diagnose you and work through you. Kind of like a car. We're gonna work on a car. You know, we got to figure out what's going on. Then we know what to change, and we know what to put our energies into. So trauma is the thing that a lot of people end up coming to us here, sitting here on this show, because they've gone to all the modern routes and it didn't work. And it's not that it worked, it's just they just felt like they weren't being heard.
Yeah.
In what I find, you know, in the work that I do, I find that a lot of people just feel like they're not being heard properly. Like, they don't listen to me. That psychiatrist isn't saying, he just keeps writing shit down. You know, I have psychiatrists that come to me to do shamanic work. You know, it's like, because they need that break. They need to release their mind, you know, because of all the things they have to hear constantly every day.
And so can I.
So, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just, it's a fascinating mind. The human mind is very, very intricate, very fascinating, because how we talk to ourselves is so crucial. What comes out of our personal mouth, that prayer that we say, every time we open our mouth, there's a prayer comes out. And if we put ourselves down, or we're not the most best, we hear that.
Yeah.
You know, and it goes into our super subconscious and our subconscious mind, and it just resides in there, and then it plays back. And then we're like, what the hell is that? And then, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff happen. I'm not worth, nobody likes me because I'm fat, you know, or nobody likes me because I'm too short, you know. You start to believe that. I'm just using me as an example. When I was a kid, I believed that. I was chubby, short, but I was adorable. I didn't want to be adorable. I wanted to be sexy. I want to be sexy. But you know, that's kind of where we are. Self-talk is very powerful medicine. And I don't think in our culture we teach enough self-talk. We don't teach our kids to empower themselves. You know, sometimes because we don't speak our own truth. Sometimes we don't speak well to ourselves.
Right.
But the people who are fortunate and lucky enough to see that have good people in their lives that do speak well to themselves, kids are like little sponges and little recorders. They remember everything. You got a kid, I got kids, I got grandkids. I tell you, 6 months from now, your kid's gonna say blah blah blah. You're gonna go, what?
Yeah.
Where'd you learn that? From you? You know?
Oh, it's always a teaching, learning lesson. Like, whatever comes out of Luna's mouth, I'm like, damn, like, wow. And I like to see, like, even through parenting, like, how the universe works with us. Like, I always say Luna's always asking for stuff, and then she'll forget about the stuff she asked for. So when she gets brand new to her, and then also, like, it's came to the point where she's asking for multiple things all the time, that I'm like, some things I do pick out. If she consistently asks for something, I for her. And I think that's how the universe works with us. Like if we're consistently asking for something, it's going to give it to us. If we're just asking for a whole bunch of random things that all the time, it doesn't know what to give us. Like it's not going to dish it out. But even with her memory is so supreme. Like I remember being at a restaurant with her and her dad, and the server was asking us what we wanted to drink. And she's like, "Mommy, remember when you yelled at Daddy? You remember that?" Like, please don't bring it right now.
They're like, okay, where are we going here? Where are we going?
Everybody-
What rabbit hole are we going now?
I've been busting out, be quiet. But I know quiet. She has a really great. I love that because if anything does happen to her, at least she'll remember. And hopefully you say it to me. So
yeah.
Get to talking.
So I want to give you guys an opportunity to maybe, if you want to do a read, pull a card or something for our audience, something going into 2022, something that you want to share, something that that they could benefit from, something they might help them get to a place of understanding. Then I also want you to, towards the end, I want you to promote yourselves and share your websites or how people can get a hold of you after you do your reads. Okay.
What you got over there, Marie?
You got over there. It's cute looking stuff. And a side note, while we're getting ready, so did you guys know a child, the first 7 years of life, their vibration is at the same of someone who is being hypnotized. Hence why they say the first 7 years of a child's life is the most important. Like, give me a child in 7 years, I'll return a man. So just a little tidbit of information.
All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, right?
Absolutely. That's why I said it's so prominent right now for speaking what we want and not what we don't want. Because the universe does not hear don't. It doesn't hear jokes. It doesn't hear none of the bullshit. All it hears is what the fuck you just said. So
it's funny you said that because I tell that to my students all the time. The universe always says yes.
Always. Like, okay.
Can I have a new car? Yes. Can I not have a new car? Yes.
Yeah. At any point.
All right. Who would like to go first?
I gotta get all my cards together.
So you gonna go ahead, Giovanna, or?
Go ahead. I gotta still get my cards all flipped this right way.
For those of you coming in, this is Anne-Marie Buswell and this is Giovanna Funderburg, and they are sharing their magic with us. And I hope that you stick around for the read, and maybe they'll give you a read real quick, a popcorn read.
Oh, popcorn for being here. It's good to be here.
Good to be here. That's right.
Be here.
Woohoo! Yeah. And Giovanna, make sure that you tell them about your class coming up too in January.
Definitely will. Definitely will. Okay. Anne-Marie, you going first?
Well, I pulled Psychic Development. This is my shamanic oracle deck. So it's Psychic Development. It's interesting. There's a swan on there. This is going right along with what we've been talking about, that this is the year for people to come into their own, to come into their purpose, to say, you know what, this is who I am. If you don't like it, fuck you. In a nice way.
Right. You're a serial killer, then it's no.
I'm not doing that toxic positivity. You know what? If you're having a breath,
positivity,
don't stay stuck in it. There's not all love and light. No. So my message to people is, when you ask for the things that you want, be prepared to do the work that is going to come with what you're asking for. And a lot of people, that's going to be whatever your psychic development is. That could just be your intuition. That could just be you believing your dream. So that's it.
Nice. Very good.
Cool. Okay. My deck here is The Vortex, Getting into the Vortex by Abraham Hicks. Card that flew out is, every relationship I establish is eternal. And this goes along the lines of like contracts and what we were talking about earlier, like the vibrations vibing in and vibing out. Like It says, it is our desire that you come to remember that every relationship is eternal, and that once it has been established, it is a part of your vibrational makeup forevermore. And that in your powerful now, where all that you have become converges with all that you are now becoming, you hold the power to create. And so your observation of a situation, unwanted or wanted, no matter how remote you believe yourself to be, makes you a co-creative partner of the experience. So just like we were talking about creating your reality and the words that you're saying, the vibrations that you're putting out, the relationships that you're in, like everything is always reflecting back to you. So if you see a relationship that you don't like, first thing foremost is to fix whatever is inside of you that's even attracting that person, because it may be a karmic, it may be a soulmate, maybe a twin flame. Situations that are happening, it definitely is showing where you're at in your life. And if you don't want to be there anymore, vibe out.
Yeah.
And vibe out.
I like that. Vibe out. That's a new word. I like that. Vibe out. It's good to be here. Vibe out.
Yeah.
Vibing out.
Vibe in, vibe out, vibe off.
So I'm using the Stephen D. Farmer PhD Power Animal Oracle cards. This is like my favorite deck of all decks that's ever been made because I like them. So I pulled the Dragonfly card. If you can see that. So the card here is about illusion. You know who you really are. So the cool thing about this card, what I like about this card, is the Dragonfly is probably the most interesting creature because it starts its existence in the water before it comes out and flies. It lives part of its life in water. So its whole incarnation is, living, breathing oxygen through water, living there, eating, and doing its thing, preparing for itself to change and go into the new world, which is kind of cool. What's in the illusion is that you're going to be this bug in the water, but the reality is when if you just work hard a little bit more, you're going to move into your Dragonfly stage. The cool thing about Dragonfly is it's the closest thing to a hummingbird, closest thing to a helicopter. That's where the idea of the helicopter came from, is actually came from the Dragonfly. And if you watch the movie Dune, they use a Dragonfly concept of flying. So if you watch the movie Dune that just came out recently, they have a Dragonfly ships. So knowing that you were in the water before doesn't mean that you no longer have to be there. You no longer have to reside in the water. You're free now. You're free to move into the air and travel and explore and everything, because you can never go back to where you started when you start to, break out of the illusions. So the Dragonfly is just saying, when you start to break out of the illusions of what life is showing you and what is happening and how you see the world, that really what you were seeing is just part of your growth, part of your evolution of yourself. And now that you can fly backwards, forwards, up and down, no matter what, it's a great totem card for those people who are trying to figure out who they are in this world of uncertainty, like in COVID and stuff. Basically, because what happens is when we're in COVID, we feel like that we have to do the right thing. And in the Dragonfly is just telling you here, just be yourself. Just be yourself. It's like a rubber band. When you stretch it, it can never go back to its original form. And that's the illusion of the Dragonfly. Just my read.
Oh yes.
Very good. All right, tell us a little bit about upcoming class you're teaching.
Okay, so I am teaching a spiritual development class. It's spirituality for beginners. That will be on January 30th. We will be learning about auras, chakras, or the chakras, activating third eyes, and teaching the Hermetic laws and principles. I think it's very important for us to have the foundational work before even working with your ancestors and working in ceremony. We need to get the soul right, because you could be downloading messages and not even know how to spit them out if your chakras are not aligned, if your third eye is not activated and opened. And then as the classes go on, we'll dive deeper and deeper into spirituality, into rituals and whatnot. But I definitely want to start with the basics. I have spots, but 3 are taken now. So we have 3 more spots left. And I also do psychic readings. I'm an integrative healing arts practitioner. So I'm a meditation facilitator, ordained minister, priestess of the red tent. So I do a lot of different things. I work on a lot of different things, but right now I'm definitely classes and getting the newcomers of spirituality in the door, because I know, like, when I first started, there was barely anyone. I found Iggy, and that was my lighthouse. So I think these classes that we're going to be holding are definitely going to be lighthouses for a lot of the people that are coming into spirituality and wanting to find themselves and their higher selves and connect to source, because the universe literally is you, and whatever you here is going out here. So we need to clear here so we can get the good out here.
Yes. So where will we find you? Where will people find you? How can we find you, Giovanna?
You can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active at. My Facebook is definitely for family members and my bullshit memes. But my Instagram is _thegivinggoddess_, and I'm on TikTok. I'm very viral on TikTok. That's at Giovanna Funderburg. And yeah, I do spiritual memes over there and talk a lot of spiritual bullshit over there. So want to come see me, come find me.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate that.
I'm excited for the
Me too.
All right, Emery, you're up. What's going on? How we get a hold of you?
I am the Alpha and I am the Omega, just so everybody knows.
Okay.
Just check.
I'm Laurel and Hardy.
I guess you can follow Giovanna. You can email me. I can do readings, and there's a lot of things I'm working on right now that I'm kind of keeping close to me. But I'm open for doing tarot readings if people would like. You can reach me at Final Destiny Wisdom at Instagram, and Italian Empath on TikTok. And if you want, I'm sorry.
Said hell yeah.
Yeah. Once I figure out how to do my duets and my stitching, it's going to be on. And then you can email me or message me, of course, on Facebook as well.
Very good. Very good. And of course, I'm Iggy Garcia, iggygarcia.com. You can find me there. That's kind of my hub. So you can kind of peruse there and figure out the things I'm doing. I do want to mention we have a drum circle tomorrow here in Columbus, Ohio, at my home at 9 p.m. and for however long we can last at midnight. Probably because midnight we'll probably be like bringing in the new year. We're going to be doing a despacho ceremony. So it's actually a proving ceremony of releasing and letting go and bringing in positive and loving energies. So it's has a dual purpose in that. For those of you who want to be part of that, show on up. And if you need more information, get a hold of me, DM me. Go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, as my grandson would say. Subscribe. Leo would say.
Button.
Push the subscribe buttons, he says. But yeah, I want to thank both of you. It's good to be here, and I really appreciate your time and your busy schedules to be with me and be on the show. And we're probably going to try a little beta testing reading thing on Blog Talk Radio, maybe. Psychics in the City. Going to bring that piece back. So you'll be listening to the three of us laughing, having fun with that at some point. So be looking for that. That should be exciting. So I'm at Serenity Salts Ball too, as well. SerenitySaltsBall.com. That's where the class is going to be held. For Joanna's going to hold her class there at my place of business. So for those of you who can make it, I will see you. So happy New Year to both of you. If I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you next year, as they say. But I love you both dearly.
Love you.
And I learned a lot today, and I'm glad that we were able to, how the meeting is of the mind, and stay, focused and listen to each other as we approach very difficult and delicate topics, and sharing about what 2022 brings for all of us, because we're all going to be connected in some way or another as we travel this road together, this red road and this 5D road, as we punch in and out from the 3D to 5D, because that's kind of how it works.
Yep.
And other than that, if there's anything you want to leave, I'm going to give you one opportunity to just say something for everybody, and we'll call it a night. So Giovanna, why don't you just lead us off?
All right. Vibe in, vibe out. I'm vibing out.
All right.
I just hope everyone happy and healthy. Hope everyone's happy and healthy and love and be loved.
Yes.
Perfect. As we say here in our little circle, it's good to be here.
Good to be
And,
here.
you know, it's all love. It's hope. Pono matakuyasin. Irisikwi. Namaste. What is above is below. And with
Mhm.
that, I'll say aho. And I'll see you
Aho.
guys next time.
Thank
Uh-huh.
Peace and love, guys. I love you. Take
Love
care.
you.
Be well.
Bye.